Assalamu alaikum. In the name of Allah, the most gracious and the most merciful. The Quran and modern science. Zoology. Animals and birds live in communities. There is not an animal on the earth nor a being that flies on its wings, but communities like you. Surah Anam, Ayat 38. Research has shown that animals and birds live in communities. They organize and live together and work together. The flight of birds. Do they not look at the birds held poised in the midst of the air and the sky? Nothing holds them up but the power of Allah. Verily, in this are signs for those who believe. Al-Quran, Surah Nahl, Ayat 79. Another verse also touched on birds. Do they not observe the birds above them, spreading their wings and folding them in? None can uphold them except Allah, the most gracious. Truly it is He that watches over all things. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Mulk, Ayat 19. The Arabic word amsaka literally means to put one's hands on, says, hold someone back, which expresses the idea that Allah holds the bird up in His own power. These verses stress the extremely close dependence of the bird's behavior on divine law. Modern scientific data has shown in the degree of perfection attained by certain species of bird with regard to the programming of their movements. It is only the existence of a migratory program in the genetic code of the birds that can explain the long and complicated journey that very young birds without any prior experience and without any guidance are able to accomplish. They are also able to return to the departure point on a definite day. Professor Hamburger, in his book Power and Fragility, gives the example of mutton bird that lives in the Pacific with its journey of around 2400 km in the shape of figure 8. It makes this journey over a period of 6 months and come back to its departure point with a maximum delay of 1 week. The highly complicated instructions for such a journey have to be continued in the bird's nerve cells. They are definitely programmed. Therefore, should we not at least reflect on the identity of this programmer? The bee and its skill. And the Lord taught the bee to build its cell in hills, on trees, and in habitations, then to eat all produces of the earth and find with skill the spacious parts of its Lord. Al-Quran, Surah Nahl, Ayat 68-69. Vaughan received the Nobel Prize in 1973 for his research on the behavior and communication of the bees. The bee, after discovering any new garden or flower, goes back and tells its fellow bee the exact direction and map to get there, which is known as bee dance. The meaning of these insect movements are intended to transmit information between bees have been discovered scientifically using photography and other methods. The Quran mentioned in the above verse how the bees with its skill find the spacious path of its lords. The gender used for the bees in the above verse is the female gender, indicating that the bee that leaves its home for gathering food is a female bee. In the other word, the soldier or working bee is a female bee. In fact, in Shakespeare's play Henry IV, some of the characteristics speaks about bees and mention that the bees are soldiers and they are the king. That is what people thought in Shakespeare's time. They thought that the working bees are male bees and they go home and are answerable to the king bee. This, however, is not true. The working bees are females and they do not report to the king bee but to a queen bee. But it took modern investigations in the last 300 years to discover it. Spider's web and the fragile home. The parable of those who took protectors other than Allah is that of the spider who builds a house, but truly the flimsiest of houses is the spider's home, if they but knew. Al-Quran, Surah Al-Ankabut, Ayat 41. Besides giving the physical description of the spider's web as being very flimsy, delicate, and weak, the Quran also stresses on the flimsiness of the relationship in the spider's house, where the female spider many a time kills its mate, the male spider. The parable also has refers to the weakness of the such relationship of the people who seek protection from this world and from the hereafter from those other than Allah. Lifestyle and communication of ants. And before Solomon were marshaled his host of jinns and men and birds, and they were all kept in order and ranks. At length, when they come to a valley of ants, one of the ants said, O ye ants, get into your habitations, lest Solomon and his host cursed you without knowing it. Al-Quran, Surah An-Naml, Ayat 17-18. In the past, some people would have probably mocked at the Quran, talking it to a book of fairy tales in which ants talk to each other and communicate sophisticated messages. In recent times, however, research has shown us several facts about the lifestyle of ants which were not known earlier to humankind. Research has shown that the ants are insects whose lifestyle is closest in resemblance to the lifestyle of human beings are the ants. This can be seen from the following finding regarding ants. The ants bury their dead in a manner similar to the humans. They have a sophisticated system of division of labor whereby they have managers, supervisors, foremen, workers, etc. Once in a while they meet among themselves to have a chat. They have an advanced method of communication among themselves. They hold regular markets where they exchange goods. They store grains for a long period in winter, and if the grain begins to bud, they cut the roots. So, if they understand that if they leave it to grow, it will root. If the grain stored by them gets wet due to rain, they take it out into the sunlight to dry, and once dry, they take back inside as though they know the humidity will cause development of root system, which will cause the grain to root.